Flyway is a complete end-to-end database DevOps solution. And as such, we have the development workflow that is really about capturing those state-based object level evolutions, as well as the migration and rollback scripts that we're going to crucially use to execute or roll back further environments as we go downstream. However, what we also have is the ability to deploy those changes if we wish from within the UI. So if we come into our Flyway desktop project here, we've got a couple of pending changes that we've captured from development, but we haven't as of yet deployed down. Now, you may choose to do this as part of an automated workflow, leveraging Flyway alongside your CI/CD solution of choice. But we can also do this with a manual fashion if we wish, and this could be as part of a standard deployment workflow that you're adopting, or it could also be an urgent hotfix that you want to bring through. And the great thing is with Flyway, we can actually mix and match both automated and manual deployment processes in the same workflow, because Flyway is going to be able to track and accommodate this for us. So we have 6 scripts here. If I select my testing environment that I've set up, and this is very easy to do because Flyway just leverages JDBC connections, so we can really bring out any of these we wish. So if we look at test, we can use the wizard here, or we can script out our own JDBC connection string to be able to include any environments we wish in the process. Now, in here, we've got 6 scripts, our baseline script that is already captured on our project setup, but then we have 4 scripts that have already been deployed, but our scripts 5 and 6 are now pending. Now, as I said, we could leverage this as part of an automated workflow going forwards very easily, but what we can also do is use the UI here. So I've got the migrate command selected, but there are a number of other commands that we could leverage here. We could also deploy our rollback scripts if we wish. We can use our check commands to be able to generate reports here, which would give us the access to change reports, drift reports, dry run reports, all of these sort of value adds that we can do with Flyway. But what I really want to look at today is how flexible we can be on those deployments. So when we select migrate, if I was to click this button now, we would merely execute scripts 5 and 6. And we can toggle this view to just show us which changes we have pending if we want to simplify it, or we can see a complete overview at any point. But we can also be very specific on how we make these changes and in which sequence we want to do that. So I can add in additional parameters here. So if we had, for example, a number of changes that we wanted to make, but only up to a certain point, we can select our target parameter. Now, if we had, let's say, migrations 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 all pending, we may only want to, at this point, deploy up to 8, rather than individually run a migration for each step or risk deploying scripts that we didn't want to deploy right now. We could put in a value of migration 8. We're only going to deploy up to that point. The same with rollbacks. We can execute rollbacks back to a certain migration if we want to reset to a key state in the database. In addition, we can also use something like our cherry pick command. Now, cherry pick is a variation on the target, but even more flexible. It allows us to pick out individual migrations, maybe not in sequence and in specific orders. So I could very much say I want to execute scripts, let's say if we had those other pending migrations, 007 and then 005. This would allow me to execute not only just these 3 scripts, ignoring scripts 8, 9, and 6, but also this is the sequence in which I'm going to deploy these changes here as well. And all of this allows us to be very, very specific and very controlled as to how we choose to execute those. In this case, I just want to migrate our commands without any parameters. I'm just going to run our migration run. Flyway is going to look at the schema history table that is captured on each database. So in case of our testing workflow here, what it's going to do is look at this automatically created table, and it's going to track all of the previous migrations. So obviously our scripts 5 and 6 we've just run, but in here we can see a great little breakdown of when these were done from an audit perspective, see exactly what scripts were executed on what date, what time, the user that was passed to Flyway to do this, when, how long these took to execute, and a checksum value that allows us to reconcile the scripts we previously deployed are still in the same state in the repository. And once we have this, let's just close that. When we refresh our view, we can see in here very simply from the UI that scripts 5 and 6 have now been executed. Now, if this was done outside of an automated process, because we've updated that schema history table, that information is going to be visible for the next run of the pipeline. But alternatively, this is a great way of deploying, even if you don't want to go fully to automated yet, or this is a first step to more controlled deployments and you want to evolve to automation. If you want to explore more about how Flyway can assist you with deployment structure and stability, please do let us know here and we'd love to speak about this further. Thank you.